I
thing?
got that too, but I wasn't sure. Let me see what it says here.
I forgot to look at what happened.
Canceled your automatic payments will no longer automatically draw money from your account. Pay the merchant. Interesting.
I need a Venmo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't, like, I'm surprised I don't have Venmo yet.
Like, what the?
Everybody uses that shit.
Okay, I need to go to draft breakdown quick.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that quick too.
See if there's a news. Like maybe they stopped being a paid thing.
Whoa. Howdy, Caleb Schmidt 7. What is this? Oh, this is a nice little setup now.
What's a nice little setup?
Like in the top right corner, it says Howdy, Caleb Schmidt 7.
Mine is Howdy, Scouts Elite NFL.
Yeah, this is not pay service anymore.
What?
Really?
Or at least it's not right now.
Well, Jesus Christ. Right?
Because
okay,
I'm
here's
using it.
We're having some tech issues right now. If you get any emails / notifications, you can ignore them. All content is accessible. What the hell?
Huh.
So everybody can get on right now. But apparently it's not a permanent thing.
All right, well.
Hey, how do I send a friend request?
So don't get greedy over there.
Damn it.
What is all this? My sites? This is wild. I don't know what's going on. Oh.
Huh. Remember the name Jake Browning?
Yeah, I watched him. He's terrible.
It's not good.
Wow, that's wild.
Pretty sure he's only a junior, though.
Already existed.
Got that going for him. Somehow he's only a junior. I feel like I've known him forever.
Yeah. Back in 1 minute.
So I finally get to talk about my my playoff thing that I made for the spreadsheet.
Oh.
And yeah, Caleb is. Oh, it's bad.
Hey, you should.
Is it bad?
Should send me that link to that spreadsheet quick.
Okay. The lowest WAR to ever make the playoffs before this season was negative 0.59. And Caleb's WAR this season was negative 2.19.
Forgot about the WAR stat.
Yeah, like it was. I never really got to talk about it because like I didn't want to do it until the season was kind of like almost over because it was just changing so much. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to see how it worked out this year. Okay, I'm sending it to you.
Oh, I forgot about all these trophies we made.
Yeah, I went in there and I was just like, I wonder if these have been like automatically put on these teams, and all of them are set to owner or commissioner applies to the team. And I was just like, well, you know what? I might as well just do this.
Jeez, holy crap, we were way behind.
Yeah, it was like 2013 and 2014 for just like 2 of them.
Oh, let me see this Pac-5 champion list. History.
I might as well send it to Caleb too. He's erotic.
All right.
Caleb, I just sent you the link to this web spreadsheet in case you wanted it. Brock wanted to see it.
That'd be really nice.
Be so nice.
I was just saying how your team is god awful.
Hey, now.
Lowest WAR to ever make the playoffs before this year was negative 0.59, and yours is negative 2.19.
That's nice.
You were over 2 wins worse than an average team this season. And you fucking made the playoffs. You son of a bitch. Actually, I'm fine with it because you did it over Tim. Tim's a bastard.
It's a bastard, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, we got a whole pile of 200-point games now since I last looked at this.
Yeah, but in the last 2 years, we've had 4.
Yeah, jeez.
Wow. Okay.
2015 and 2014 was 9 apiece, and we haven't even had 9 in the last 2 years combined.
Yeah, look at that. I have 6 of the top 10 highest offensive scores and 0 in the low end. Nice.
Yeah. It's pretty Tim and Josh dominated. Carter's franchise through 5 years is officially the worst.
Record-wise, is there a total record somewhere?
Yeah, go to the TS sheet.
Ooh.
Why do I have Jordan base on me?
What?
Why? I don't even know why. I didn't even check the web thing.
Oh, this is amazing. God, Dan's averaging 167 points per game for the entire ever. Wow. That's an insane stat. Jesus.
Yeah, Dan is easily the best overall team, but he's been kind of held back by the one championship, and also he only has 2 conference championships.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still behind Parker in the dynasty thing, but
God, this update needs to fucking hurry up.
Back-to-back 9 and 5 years. Oh, I played Dan in the first round last year too.
And the year before.
Wow. Familiar foes.
Wow. Oh, I just saw the Judy game in 2014. Oh. Why?
God, it's one of the stupidest things I've ever. If Judy would have won the title that year.
Oh, that would have been such a black eye on the league looking back at it now.
We've avoided 2 of those. Judy winning and then Calvin being the first one to have the belt.
Oh, yeah. That would have been rough too. Who knows if we would have got it back?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know if I really trust him with the belt. Well, folks, you want to get this rolling? It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
All right. All right. I'll move this shit out of my way. Fuck.
Caleb, I've been filling out breakdowns already here behind.
Wait, what? You already have a pool?
Yeah, I got 3 already. We got Barkley, Geis, and Wadley.
Jeez. If I wouldn't have school, I would have done some. But yeah, just
Finals.
give me 1 week, and I'll be back at it again. I'm
Almost
excited.
done with Ronald
Got a lot of
Jones
stuff.
too.
And Ronald Jones.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be nice having a top 3 pick this year.
Yes. Fuck yeah. Fuck Caleb.
Give me
Does that happen
either
before? I bet you it
Geis,
hasn't.
make the playoffs and have a top 3 pick.
Um,
Probably not. Wouldn't make much sense.
I mean, there has been a lot of pick trading.
Yeah.
No. No playoff team has ever had a top 3 pick.
That's nice.
Tim, he had 1 pick last year, and he has 1 pick this year. And it's the pick that he traded. His pick last year to get.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm echoing. I hear myself.
Are you? I don't know. Are we better?
Hello. No.
Not better, or is it echoing?
It's still echoing.
What?
Still echoing. That's better. It's still, you can still hear it though. Every once in a while that happens for like 30 seconds on the podcast and it completely rattles me.
Really rattles me too. I think we're good now.
Nice.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh my
Trying to
God.
what the highest pick that a playoff team has ever had, I'm pretty sure is like a lot lower than you'd think. Like it might be 7.
Wow. Well, yeah.
Which
Usually
is-
teams like sell out. They don't really see them trading like those lower teams getting like. I don't know. Yeah. Interesting.
Trying to think. I picked 5 once.
Oh, yep. Brock picking 5th was the highest for a playoff team.
It's gonna be 1 after I trade my entire team for Josh's pick this year. Oh, you guys are laughing like it's not.
Dude, I'm gonna make a big trade this offseason. I'm calling it.
Dude, this is these trades like right at the end of the season whenever like the Gurley trade, like trade for Gurley before everyone's like, oh, we might actually do decent again. Bam. This night. Traded for Doxson around the end of the year last year too.
I don't have the worst defense in the league. I just edged up Dave by 0.1.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see.
Oh yeah, Brock. The scoring race this year, guess how many points I beat you by?
What, wasn't it like point something?
0.2. and the reason that even happened, like I put in the week 14 scores and you like had it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back to week 13 like I always do to update for stat changes, and I had +1 and you had -1.
Wow.
Oh Christ. I thought I had it too. I was sitting there all Monday like, oh, scoring title. Whoop,
I
whoop.
figured that you had it too.
Yeah.
But
Wait a sec. Is this right one? Wait.
has anybody checked to see if I won yet?
You won?
I guess I haven't.
Yeah.
No, it's
Nope,
still the same.
lost. I think they make them on is it Thursday mornings that they do it.
All right, well, come on.
Oh, 3-week highs in the last 4 weeks. That's nice.
Yep. You and Dan are the 2 best teams over the last half of the season in terms of scoring, and you're playing each other.
Oh man. I've never had a week high.
What? This year or ever?
personally.
I've taken over.
Oh,
Yeah, Judy's season that he made the title game, his team was actually pretty good. It was just 7-7.
207. He had a 193.
It was kind of a roller coaster thing, though. Like he would have like 200, and then he'd have like 130, and then
Yeah, there's a 117 mixed in here, a 127.
God, I'm proud of my defense this year.
But just think about this though. Like I led the league in scoring this year with 162.1, and like I mean had a like really good season like overall. Judy's team in 2014 scored 163.7 and was still third in scoring that year.
Yeah, that's
That team got hot at the end, if I remember right.
Yeah, he had a week high in week 12, and then he won in week 14 to make the playoffs over Kelvin.
This is another good one. Like 2014, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams averaged over 100 points for offensive scoring, and only 3 did it this year. And
Yeah, and it wasn't even looking.
barely.
Yeah, it didn't even look like that was going to happen for most of the year. Like we really picked up scoring in the last 3 weeks of the season. 4 weeks actually. Like over the entire season, we were in the 140s with a couple of one 150 and one 120 for overall for the weeks.
Mhm.
And the last 4 weeks we were over 150 for each. We brought our average up like 2 points a game. Still was lower than normal, but
Mhm.
what else? There was something else. God, what? There was some other wild thing. Oh yeah, the lowest scoring team this year, which was Carter. The difference between the highest and lowest scoring teams this year was 29 points per game, and every other year it's been like at least 40.
huh.
Jeez.
And there's like quite a few seasons where it was like 50. Like
That
Brock,
parity, though.
the Brock and Tim from 2014 with like one of the best teams and the worst team ever. Like it was 59 points per game difference.
Wow.
Like literally doubled what we had this season.
Oh my god.
Even more ridiculous thing. I'm doing a quick looking here. Just wait. Yeah, I went undefeated, and if I would have played Tim every week, I would have lost a game that year. So
Yeah.
it's pretty damn lucky.
Yeah, that fucker. That season is so ridiculous. 1.1 WIB. Like, that is just stupid. Oh my god.
Maxed out at 144 points.
7-week lows. Half the season. His worst team.
Wow, that's incredible.
Oh.
Christ. Kids won 8 games every year since that point.
The tank worked. Trust the process. Can't wait till that's me. I'm gonna live it up.
Yeah, seriously. Like, when are these fucking perennial freak franchises going to be rebuilding? You and Parker and Dan, fuckers. All right, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Hold on, I gotta take a sip of my Red Bull that doesn't have vodka in it.
Nice.
Red Bull out of a glass. Nice. I think like that kind of ruins it for me because it's like you can see what actual color it is.
Oh no, there's definitely
little, like,
vodka in here. It's definitely it's 50% vodka. It's great.
Okay.
All right. Welcome everybody to the Week 14 edition Web.com podcast. 2017 season is over. We got 14 weeks in the books. Every team has their record for the year. We got all these numbers to look at. And the best part is we got 4 playoff teams ready to go at it starting tomorrow night.
Playoffs. Playoffs.
Talking about playoffs?
Playoffs?
Oh, we are. Playoffs.
Huh.
That's what Caleb's team was saying in like week 4.
Playoffs.
Yeah,
Like,
we made it.
It made it.
yeah, when he traded Alshon.
Yeah. Toxic
Key.
in the locker room?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a real
Must
thing.
have been locker
Yeah.
room cancer.
Wow, yeah. Shit. Traded to Tim, who then became cursed.
Yeah. Sorry about
lost.
that, bud.
Rough season for Alshon here.
Yeah.
Thinks he gets put into a playoff race, and suddenly the team he's traded from makes a run and beats his fella or his own team
Yeah,
in week 14
that's
to
really
miss
good.
the playoffs.
And then to top it all off, he's like, well, you know what? I don't care about fantasy football. And then his quarterback in real life tears his ACL.
Oh,
What a season.
yeah.
Wow. Too soon. All right.
Yeah.
Poor Alshon.
17 minutes.
All right, guys. Well, here's what I'm thinking this week. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lot to talk about in terms of kind of some general end of the season wrap up things and talking about our playoff games. So we'll go over these week 14 games, but probably a few of them won't get as much love, particularly the Dave Carter and Brock Josh games. Didn't really have a lot going on. So we'll talk a little bit about them, but sorry to those teams if you wanted to hear about your final games, but we'll have a lot. We'll have a lot more. So your interview will be coming up, and everybody gets a little love in the year interview.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start. Let's start with it. You know, we might as well. Game of the week.
Was it actually game of
Playoff.
the week? I never casted a vote. I was never able to actually vote for Dave Carter.
I kind of just nominated it myself, but you know what? Maybe Dave Carter sneaks out an upset in that final poll of the year. You know,
You never know.
I should have known better, but
Mm-hmm.
Caleb and Tim this week fighting for the playoffs. 2 Pac-5 teams going at it.
Love Carter.
I do love Carter a lot. I'm really happy he's in the league. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But okay. I'm sorry. I'm getting off topic. No. 2 Pac-5 teams. This is the first season. Hold on a second here before I start saying any of this. I'm pretty sure. I'm correct. This is the first season since 2014 that we've had 2 Pac-5 representatives in the playoffs. It's been 3 Big Fives and Brock in the last 2 years. So congratulations to that conference for establishing itself with a little bit more competition.
We're back on a level playing field there. Good job,
Yeah,
Caleb.
nice job.
Yeah, you guys are welcome, man.
Ah, fuck you, Caleb.
Right?
Yeah, no, speaking of that, split the season series 15-15 conference-wise in
There we go.
games. So,
That's what we like to hear.
it was
We're
pretty
back.
convincing for the last 2 years, like 20-10 and 19-11. Yeah.
We are back. We're on the up and up. Next year we have a couple of Josh and Dave teams that are getting better.
A new
Yeah,
conference champion.
Caleb's going to take a step forward. Like actually, maybe have the stats to back up his record next year. Tim's going to be good again. God, we're on the up and up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely seeing a shift parity wise. We were just kind of talking about that. We'll hit on some of that later. But this game I mean, it lived up to the hype. Like it was pretty close for most of the time, and it kind of looked like it could go either way. In the end, Caleb ends up winning by 7 points, under 7 points, but 6 points something. And yeah, you did it, man. You proved all the haters wrong.
The haters are still there and they're hating, but I proved them wrong. What a team performance, basically by the offense and my 3 linebackers, because another week of a 1-point production out of my defensive line spots. Got a 0 out of Cam Wake.
I think the more impressive part is you overcame the 3 by Mariota.
Yeah, that too. I addressed the quarterback issues in free agency this week with Ben Roethlisberger, so we'll see how that works out against the Pats. But guys coming alive at the right time. I got to shout out my boy Jamal Williams, ride or die, and he is coming up huge for me. I wouldn't be here without him.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, does it feel good to have your boy lead you to the playoffs?
Best feeling. Honestly, the fact that he's really just come along this season. Now he's the guy for the Packers. Like every Packer game is just like, all right, just feed him. And he can't be stopped. It's
especially after how bad he looked in the preseason. I won't lie. Think the game was just like moving so fast for him, I think. I think that's what happened.
Like running into linemen, and he wasn't like he has like elite vision. He should be, but that came around. So Jamal, Mike Thomas, Corey Coleman, good start against the Packers. Funchess, of course, gets a touchdown. Ingram and Henry both had solid games. Like I don't know. The team just came through for me big here, in the biggest game of pretty much my Webb career. So
yeah, I mean, since you took over the team, I don't think there's any discussion that this is the biggest game that you've played in, and I mean, what like the stats that are behind this team, like this has been a joke all year. Like this has been kind of a running theme. Now that it's real, and actually sitting down and looking at how this team compares to previous playoff teams in Webb, it is astounding that you've made it this far. But that being said, anything can happen when we get into the postseason. We've seen it. We've seen 14-0 teams fall. Sorry, Brock.
Thanks.
We've seen Parker teams that average 175 points a game and look invincible go down in the first round. You know, I think the only playoffs that have really gone the way that everybody expected was the very first season when Dan easily walked into a championship. But yeah, so at this point, all bets are off, you know, and when we talk about playoff matchups later, I'll talk a little bit more about kind of the stats behind these teams and that sort of thing. But congratulations. The offense, as you said, came up big this week, 109.2. That actually had a really good week for offensive scoring this week. Averaged over 100 points overall for the first time this season from the offenses. So maybe the scores pick up here as we move into the postseason. But we got to talk about Tim, though.
He's having a rough stretch here in his Webb career.
Yeah.
Also, are we questioning the heart? The guy didn't seem that mad, unless that was a deflection tweet trying to avoid how upset he actually is.
I want to believe. I want to believe that he's in the denial stage right now. Yeah. I really do want to believe that, but
I mean, like the entire second half of the season was he would constantly be talking about how he wasn't going to make the playoffs, and then we got to this game how he wasn't going to score more than me. Like
that, yeah, that's true. It's a little bit different than last year where he was full strength.
Yeah,
now he lost Odell. The Zeke thing was the final nail in the coffin. We talked about how it'd be really hard to miss when he first lost him, and he did it.
Yeah, that played out well. Played out well for me, I guess. Like if he gets suspended any sooner, like he comes back for this last week, like I probably wouldn't win.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and I mean we had said all like that when Zeke got suspended once and for all, it was kind of like, well, you know, at that point, Tim was still, what was it, 9-2 or 8-2 when Zeke got suspended or something like that.
It was 8-2, I think.
8-2 when he got So
No.
7-2.
What week was Zeke suspended? Does anybody know off the top of their head?
I don't off the top of my head. Do quick math. 9? Because he'd be back week 16. He'd be back 16. So that means 15, 14.
So week 10 would have been the first week that he missed.
Without him, yes.
Because he would come back in week 16, right? So yeah, at that point, Tim was 7-2. So you have a 7-2 team, loses kind of its like premier running back, one of its premier players. I mean, Odell was already out at that point, but still, to see this team fall from grace, 8-2. He was 8-2 at one point this season, and he finished 8-6. Is that? Am I saying this correctly? I feel like that's wrong.
I think he was 7-2. Then he lost, I think, and then he got to 8-3, and then I think he went 8-6.
That's what it was. Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
He lost 4 of his last 5 games.
You're right. He was 8-3 going into the last 3 weeks of the year against Brock, Dan, and Caleb. So really all he had to do was win one of those games. And he didn't do it.
Yeah.
So
we talked about that in those podcasts too. Like Tim's just got to win like 2 games here, and he's in. And he ended up only winning one of them.
Yeah, and I mean you can look back at he's got a loss to like Dave on the schedule, and I mean Dave actually had a pretty decent season when you kind of boil it down. But yeah,
week 1 he lost to Parker 112 to 114. Wow, yeah. How gross that was.
I want to.
Week was, but
yeah, I would want to check the tape from the post week 9 podcast, because I think I remember it being like, yeah, if Tim wins 2 games, he's in, and I don't see any way he's not in. And he had 2 games against Josh and Dave, and he ended up losing to Dave.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very hard to pick against a team that has 8 wins with 3 to play, because generally 8-6 gets you either into the playoffs or like you're literally right there. And he had it already with 3 weeks to play. So, I mean, we're talking like all-time collapses to end a season. And it's especially like, I don't know, like exasperated or like, something like the last 3 seasons. This is kind of like the first season was kind of like, okay, he trades for Odell, goes on a 7-game winning streak, but like he missed the playoffs by 1 game, but like whatever, we didn't really expect him to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Then he kind of goes in as like maybe he can even win the Pac-5, goes 9-5, the best record to not make the playoffs, and doesn't make it that season, loses in week 14 to Brock. And now we have the same situation. He's losing the final game, playoff spot on the line. Like, the heartbreak for this team is very, very real.
I can't stop smiling. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, dude. It's just Tim, I am so sorry. But it's when you really take a step back, it's a little comical. Just his demeanor, just everything like about it is just like it's just missing by 1 game every single season.
Yeah.
I can't wait till he finally breaks through and loses in the first. Oh, God, I love our playoff format.
It's great. The 1 week games, I don't understand how anybody could not want to do that. Like you got everything on the line in 1 game.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally anything can happen. Any team can beat any team in 1 week. That's how it works. But anyways.
Yeah, the long grueling regular season makes all those games important too.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, oh, I got to get in the playoffs. There's only 4 spots.
It's like
Exactly.
how I was considering expanding the playoffs. It's like, well, that kind of just dilutes like the end of the season. It's just sort of like you always got these division challenges or getting that last wild card spot. Like you expand that, you don't really have that same.
Right. I mean, you have 4 spots, and you have, I mean, a free for all when it actually starts. Like a team like Caleb, like this is. I mean, Caleb has been talking about like this is an all-time Cinderella kind of a story this season, and the hashtags and all of that aside, you got to step back and say that yes, that is a thing. Like this is one of the craziest seasons we've ever seen, if not the craziest season we've ever seen. And now Caleb, I mean, when you really boil it down, has as much of a chance to win the title as anybody. Because all he's got to do is win 2 games. So,
how about Caleb with that of week 9 sitting at 5-4? Everyone wants to kill him with his bad stats and rips off a 4-1 finish.
Yeah,
you like that?
Is very impressive.
That, don't you?
I mean, my only loss was to you, and that was a close game too. And if Mixon doesn't get hurt, maybe AB went off, but
yeah. No, I mean, over that last 5-week stretch, he was only averaging 148.9 points per game, but finding a way to win. You know,
well, what week was the trade deadline?
Week 10.
Week 10.
Yeah. So post trade deadline, you were 4-1.
Yeah.
So.
Fucking Alshon.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That explains it. All right. Moving on, we had 2 games that didn't really directly affect one another, but that indirectly affected the Big 5 championship race. And both games went very not expectedly. Yeah. One in particular, me and Kelvin. So let's just get this out of the way. We tweeted about it, but in case you missed it, ICYMI. Right. I'm sorry. Closest game in web history. 0.1 points. Previously was 0.2 points in the infamous 200 to 199.8 game that Kelvin lost. That got Dan into the playoffs.
Wow, I forgot about that until just now.
That is
one of the greatest games in web history. Will live forever in the lore of the league. But in this case, it didn't really mean a whole lot, but it was still pretty. Like Brandon Cooks catches that 38-yard pass on the final drive, and I literally had walked to go watch the game because I'm kind of like sweating it out at this point. Like, am I gonna actually lose? So I walk away to go look at it, and I don't have my phone, so I'm like, I don't know if that's enough. And then Gostkowski kicks the field goal, and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure that's fine. It's fine now. And then I come back in and look at it, 0.1. Just like, you couldn't have marked the ball 1 yard back? Like, really?
From someone who went to, I didn't go to bed early. I just didn't watch the game, and I didn't really like look at fantasy football. Once I knew kind of how, I was paying attention to Caleb and Tim's game, but after that kind of settled out, I kind of toned out. And at that point, I'm pretty sure you had a like huge lead yet, where it's like, yeah, this is fine. And then I wake up and there's all these tweets about how like Kelvin won, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
0.1. So crazy.
It definitely appeared as though I was pretty safe. I was even texting Caleb and saying I wasn't super worried about that happening. I need to say something, because there was a point this season where I had looked at Kelvin's bench, and one of the players that I stopped and said to myself, like, why is this player being rostered, was Kenyon Drake.
Yeah. Wow.
And I need to personally apologize
to
Kelvin for thinking that his ownership was lacking in owning that player, because wow, What happened with that?
I don't know. Kenyon Drake is an all-time get shit on by Twitter, wherever, like through the draft process, at least starts the end of the draft process, and his entire career it was like, oh, Kenyon Drake's so terrible. Now he's playing and he's good.
Yeah. That it doesn't make any sense. Like, I did not see this in a million years coming from him.
I mean, like the fact Brandon Cooks didn't have a catch until that final drive when he sealed the game. So I'm thinking, like, seeing that happening, I'm just like, well, I'm fine. Like, Brandon Cooks is doing nothing. Meanwhile, Kenyon Drake is scoring 20 points. And it's just like, what? Not to mention Chris Boswell on Sunday night, 19 points.
Yeah.
Like, he got a lot of points from the final 2 games of the week. Yeah. And I mean, props to him. This is a team that averaged the 3rd most points per game in the last 3 weeks of the season. So we talked about him being kind of a sneaky matchup, and he knocks off Parker to end his playoff hopes. Knocks me off doesn't really mean a whole lot in the end, but at the same time, like, it's damn impressive. You know, this is a 2-11 team that just beat the number 1 seed in the final week.
Yeah, it's I mean, Kenyon Drake, Cooper Kupp, Nelson Aguilar, Cooks, and then you get a second overall pick coming up next year. So
right, and not only that, he has another pick. He has a pick that was traded to Brock, from Brock via Parker. So kind of a exciting thing. Like, this team makes the title game, kind of has a unlucky, unfortunate type of a season. I mean, the luck factor ended up being 0.47, which was lowest over the course of the season. And you had 2 high draft picks to that team. It's kind of scary, but in the end, the loss, I mean, it's never great to lose, but I held on to that to the scoring title and the 1 seed.
Kareem Hunt touchdown.
Kareem Hunt showed me that he's a person.
Hey,
man, I haven't gotten to say that in a while.
Yeah,
good thing you did hang on, considering I was popping champagne and breaking out memes on Monday morning.
Yeah, seriously. You like tweeted that, and I was like, I really hope that I actually win this, because there's still a chance. But
in my mind, there was no chance.
It didn't really
even
seem
consider
like
a possibility.
Yeah.
I knew.
Yeah. Flip other side of the equation here. I win the Big 5 because of what happened to Dan this week. Not really like I mean, it was a dud of a week when you have all things considered, but a 142 dud it could definitely be worse than that. But in the end, he does lose. He does miss out on the 1 seed, which this season is pretty important, as he now gets in first wildcard spot, plays Brock for the 3rd consecutive season in round 1. And we'll talk about that matchup later more specifically. But yeah, I mean, this team is we talked about it being kind of like the overall like favorite, just with all things considered. But he kind of goes into the playoffs making you wonder, you know, like Kamara got hurt. Like that happened. It looks like he's coming back this week. But still, I mean, it shows you that this kind of thing can happen.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like, looking at his scores, defense, other than Deion Jones probably had like 50% of his defensive points. Kind of was where the part that let him down. Like, we've talked about how his wide receivers are inconsistent too, so he kind of needs that consistent defense and running backs to be that elite team. So
0 out of his kicker, Ryan Suckup.
Yep. Yeah. Dan's defense over the last 5 weeks of the season is averaging 54 points per game, which is under the league average, and that compares to 61.7 points per game over the first 9 weeks. So the defense has dropped considerably.
Yeah, and loses his best player too. I know we talk about how like people should start investing draft capital in defense. So yeah, losing your best linebacker, it's gonna hurt a little bit actually.
Oh yeah, and
think about it, but
we'll talk about defense in terms of competitive advantage. That's something I want to talk about specifically in mine and Caleb's game. But no, I think that this season, and this has been like a running theme for like a couple of years, we're really trying to like get the league to understand the importance of defense. And I think that this season really kind of hammered that home. And if you have like Dan's team loses 7 points per game from the drop off of his defense over the last 5 weeks. And I mean, his offense has been unbelievable over that stretch of time. So it's kind of like made it not quite as big of a deal. But yeah, I mean, this week where the offense doesn't really show up as much, and all of a sudden you're losing a game because you're not seeing it out of the defense. So, but yeah, Parker gets a nice little win over Dan, and his year 8-6. You know, just wasn't the year for him, but very respectable season. 4th in scoring, 4th in WIB, 8-6. Generally, that'll get you there.
Yeah, we get a lot of good teams shaping up for next year.
Yeah,
like Parker's gonna get DJ back. You got Tim getting Odell, Zeke back. Me and Dan, Gorf's good now. Caleb might actually be real good.
Calvin,
baby.
Don't sleep on Calvin. That's yeah.
All right, so, you already got your dick sucking picked out for 2018. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in all reality, the team was in the freaking championship game last year. He comes in 8th power rankings, and you know he has that kind of a season, but he didn't really have that kind of a season.
No,
you know. So you add 2nd and 6th overall or 5th overall picks to this team. Like, wow, that's take that. But yeah, I'll suck his dick a little bit next year. Pretty good. All right. So just we'll quickly wrap up these last 2 games. Just a few little tidbits here. Brock beats Josh, secures his 4th consecutive Pac-5 championship. Very impressive achievement from you there, Brock. Once again, showing your dominance in this conference, which is now actually competitive. So you had to work for this one a little bit.
Not a slouch. 7-1 this year.
Yeah.
2 wins versus Caleb, fellow playoff team.
Yeah. No, your success against Pac-5 teams has been very stupidly good, but it's the most impressive this season, going 7-1, and you have 2 playoff represented or 2 potential playoff representatives.
Especially when I needed basically to go 7-1 coming out of conference play with the way I played out of conference.
Yeah. So big win, obviously getting that 2 seed there. And then the final game, the Dave and Carter last interconference game of the season. And the big note here is that Carter secures the lowest scoring team in the league title with a 97.1. We had 2 sub 100 games this year, both from Carter, both 97.1. So kind of a fun fact for the team that we kind of chose to get on the bandwagon a little bit there and proceeded
Curse of the podcast. Caleb's going 0-14 next year.
Since we did that, since we were like, hey, watch out, team is 1-5, and what just happened here? I'm opening all sorts of web pages. 1-5 and scoring 122.8 with 4-week lows. Can't say it's great. But yeah, Dave wins, and 6-8 for Dave. You know, whatever. Team had a quietly fun little season there as the number 9 scoring team.
Everybody went to work, did their jobs. A lot of lunch pail hard hat type guys over there.
Yeah. And you better believe that this team might be getting some serious compensation in the offseason for Adam Thielen. Because, oh, yeah. Top 5 receiver in the NFL. I'll say it.
That's a cornerstone right there if I've ever seen one.
This is a goddamn cornerstone. He's 28 years old, and he's already an elite receiver. He's been playing for like 2 years. God, love it. All right. Let's get to the fun part of this week's episode, which is looking ahead to our 2017 Web.com playoffs. The 5th postseason in Web.com history. We've had a lot of exciting moments throughout our past 4 postseasons. We've had Cinderellas. We've had reigning champions earn the crown again. And, you know, last season, Brock gets the monkey off the back, wins his first one. This season, we got an interesting little pool. So we'll just start what we got here. We got the 1 seed, Mingo, the Moneymakers, first time in franchise history that team is going to be the 1 seed, and also the first Big 5 championship in that team's history.
I just realized that I have full picking power over this game on the podcast.
Yep, you do.
Shit.
Yep, because number 4 seed, Caleb, wild card berth, 9-5. This is the team's second playoff appearance, but first with Caleb at the helm. Let's remember that in 2014, the team ran by Judy made the championship game. And that was the first of 2 titles for Parker. But, so Caleb gets in here, surprisingly. And then for the 3rd straight year, number 2 seed, Pac-5 champion. No surprise there. Brock faces off with our number 1 wildcard team, Dan. They're 1-1 right now, head-to-head in the playoffs.
I'm so nervous.
I can feel the pressure already. Like when I think about it, my chest is just like
This matchup, though, Dan and I, this is an all-timer, especially considering the teams like in Web. But then you actually look at the teams. We got Rodgers versus Brady. We got Le'Veon versus Gurley. We got draft partners. We got AJ Green versus Julio. We got Jimmy Graham versus Gronk.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is
it is a clash of the Titans for sure, and I mean it's been that way forever. You know, your first 2 playoff games against each other. Obviously, you were both great teams that season. But this one feels a little bit more like there's a little bit more oomph behind this one, because I think that the story was there with Dan kind of being like the best team paper wise, and he's 10-1 and doing all of this stuff. He loses going into the postseason. Brock, you're going out high. You're going out with a Pac-5 title, kind of a comeback style season. You're scoring a lot of points right now. One of these teams is not going to have a chance to play for the championship. And that is quite the stakes when you look at these teams' overall body of work. These are two teams that, these are championship caliber teams right now, and one of them's going down.
Yeah, especially I know we talked about it before the show, but looking at it kind of legacy wise with that dynasty score, I think we're both behind Parker right now from the championship.
It is incredibly close between the three of you, but yes, Parker does have a slight lead.
We're looking at I got my 4-pack 5 champions. We're looking at whatever team gets out of this game. If they can win, we're looking at probably the next top dog in Web for a year before we crown another champion potentially.
Yeah, it's we're the dynasty metric. You and Dan and Parker are right in line with each other. You're all in the 28s and you're separated by decimals. Parker doesn't make the dance this season, and one of you guys is going to the title game. And I don't no matter what happens, and this, speaking as an objective fan of Web and just kind of what I've seen, whoever wins this game between you guys is going to be the favorite. I don't care that I'm the 1 seed. I don't care that I have the scoring title. If I go into the title game against one of you guys, I'm going to be the underdog. And that's just how it is, because you guys have that background. You have that legacy that comes with you, and you both had incredible seasons. So, I mean, I'm excited. This is going to be a huge game. And honestly, it's 50-50. You can't even pick in a game like this. You guys are separated by mere points per game, under 2 points per game overall.
Yeah. Each team has strengths in different spots. I got my wide receivers. He's got his running backs. It's just,
right.
The jitters. I got the jitters.
It seems, Dan has perennially been a very good defensive team. He has, the best defensive season ever in Web, and he's never really had a bad season defensively. This season, Brock, you had an okay defensive season, but what your team has done in the last 5 weeks, where Dan's team has kind of fallen off, your team has almost picked it up a little bit. You've had a few decent weeks in there, and I could see defense being a serious factor in this game.
Yeah, we got healthy, too, at the linebacker position. That was huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, your offenses are both so explosive. And, I mean, Brock, you have, you win the offensive scoring title this season, and that was pretty commonly picked before the season started that your team was going to be the best offensive team. Dan's kind of right there with you, and with Kamara coming back and hopefully playing a full game, that his 89 from last week could have very well been 110, and you guys are pretty much scoring the same on offense at that point.
The flex spot definitely is the killer between our matchup right now. I probably got the edge at the rest of the offense, but I honestly don't know who I'm starting in the flex spot, and Dan's got Alvin Kamara, so not a great spot for me.
Yeah. Not only does he have Kamara, but if for some reason Kamara would not play, he has Jordan Howard, who's coming off a 30-point week on his bench. So, yeah, no, it's Clash of the Titans. This is huge. This is this is going to be. I think this is going to be the game that we're watching. The closest, but let's talk about this other game. We got the 1 seed, we got the 4 seed. Generally, this game has not. I mean, 4 seeds have won twice, so 4 seeds are 2-2 against the 1 seed. This year, it's a different story, because this Caleb team is far and away statistically the worst playoff team ever. I mean, I'm gonna read you some numbers, because I have the numbers of all of the playoff teams of all time, in front of me. And the lowest, I'm going to start with WAR, because this is supposedly our best metric, all things considered. The lowest playoff team, or the lowest WAR for a playoff team before this season was Kelvin last year, negative 0.59. This season, Caleb's WAR, negative 2.19. We're talking all time, like that is an awful like WAR. Like we're looking at things that are in line with like, let's see here. What do we like? Josh's team last year, 2.4, negative 2.4. That team was 3-11, picked first overall. I mean, this it's incredible. It is incredible that Caleb is where he is right now. But like we said, anything can happen, and I'm going to be on the receiving end if it happens. Caleb, please, for the love of God, just give me something here. What, you've been shit on all year, and honestly, it's been mostly deserved. But just please talk to me about what you're thinking going into this game.
Well, I honestly don't know. I shouldn't be here. I didn't think I'd get here.
Where's the confidence?
This whole season was just a giant joke, apparently. And,
it really sounds like the outside voices are getting into Caleb's head here.
They are a little bit. Every time I open up the chat, like, I wonder what they said in the web group chat. Hashtag fuck Allen. All right. Well, all right. I was gonna take my math final with that. But it's like, I don't know. The team, I feel like the offense is finally starting to get it together here, where I am confident I can get another solid performance out of them. Like, I got favorable matchups this week for me. I picked up Big Ben against the Pats, so we'll see what happens there. Like, this team, super young still. Like, I don't know if we should have like an average age thing, but that would take a while. But like, my entire starting lineup, I mean, well, obviously I put Big Ben in, but like everyone else is under 25 probably. I mean, so got a couple rookies in there. It's like, whatever happens, and I really think like this will be a stepping stone to next season. No matter what happens, like I know I regressed a little bit from last season, but like 2 full seasons, I've improved every season. So I'll make it to the playoffs and see what happens.
Yeah, let's not forget that Caleb was that before this season completely just ruined his reputation. He was that darling kind of up and coming team.
Yeah.
Right. No, see that's the thing here is that's what's lost in this season, and that's why it's a little bit unfortunate that it happened the way that it did.
I was like, dark horse, he might do it, and then it's just like, why is he doing it? Stop doing it.
You came into Webb with a black hole, and that black hole went 0-14. Like, you came in with the worst team. You have since, in 2 seasons, gone 16-12, and you are now qualifying for the playoffs. However this happened this season, this is a lot of luck and those kind of things, obviously, and you have to be lucky. Generally, playoff teams, this is not going to be a surprise to anybody, but on average, playoff teams are lucky considered with the luck factor. And this team with a 1.76 luck factor was one of the luckiest teams of all time. But you get there however you get there. You win games and you move forward, and that's just kind of how it works. And you found a way to win 9 of them this year. And I mean, that's considering the adversity that you had to face with players, like Amari Cooper. You're going into the season like, okay, yeah, I could see this team making the playoffs. And then you have Cooper doing what he's doing and some injuries and different things. You're here.
Yep.
You're 9-5. You're matching up with the 1 seed, and You know, if we go back through the weeks of Webb, there's definitely instances where your team beats my team.
Yep.
So,
like, and I mean, down the stretch here, like my 3 of my last 4 wins, I've scored over 155 points. Like this game last week, it wasn't just like one of those fluke games where I scored a 141. Like I put up a 162, and I put up a 157 against Dave, a 159 against Josh, which obviously are lower teams, but like those can hang with the big dogs this season with how scoring's been down. So
162 was a 6 WIB this week, which was surprising because if you look at the season overall, that's generally going to be like your 8, at least 7. But you know, like we've had week highs that were lower than that this year. So, what you've done with this team is impressive. And despite the fact that you're scoring this and you the 3.3 WIB and you know those kind of statistics, like you have brought this team with what you've done through trades and drafting and all these different things. You have brought this team to where it is right now, and it's impressive. You know, to make the playoffs in a season like over Parker, over Tim, you know, to do that. You gotta give yourself credit, and I think the league, like we've had fun with this whole "fuck Caleb" campaign and then stuff, but you got to give you a little bit of credit here. You know, the team has picked it up, and you're here. So,
just remember too, last year, maybe not to the extent of this, but my team was getting thrown a little shade for the luckiness, if you will, to get in.
Yeah.
So
no. I think the Pac-5 generally just gets shit on come playoff time. You know, this is like we're like
you played a cupcake schedule down the stretch.
It's like you could be 12-0 Wisconsin, but you're not going to get any kind of credit because you playing in the Big Ten. Like, why aren't you playing in the SEC? You know, come over to the Big 5 because that's where the playoff teams are made. But so yeah, you know, that it is what it is with your team. My team, we're just talking about this. First time ever being the 1 seed, first Big 5 championship. This is the best season that my team's ever had. It's exciting to see it, and I've had some adversity down the stretch, but overall, this is huge for my confidence in my team. At the same time, man, I'm not going in feeling like the favorite. You know, like I have the highest score. I got the highest WIB. I have, all things considered, a 6.8 WIB is one of the best WIBs of all time. 3.26 WAR is 4th all time in that category. But I was talking to Caleb about this. My team has a very boom or bust feel to it. Would you agree with that?
For sure. Especially coming these last few weeks, I feel like you have been that kind of team where all of a sudden you'll drop a 120 bomber on us.
Yeah. It's like the wide receivers, like they've been doing really, really, really well since they've come around. But it's like you have this feeling like, you know, Marvin Jones might throw up a dud. Keenan Allen might get back to his old ways. Fitz throws up a bad week, and all of a sudden it's like it is what it is.
That's the thing too, when you kind of have that receiver heavy team. Like I know your running backs have fallen off a little bit, so you've kind of been like that, similar to my team. Like 1 week you're making runs at 200, and then 1 week you're like, well, what the hell is going on with my team?
Yeah,
it's the curse of being wide receiver dependent. They throw some duds in there,
right? And that's really what it is. And you know, guys like Marvin Jones, like, you know, that ends up looking like a pretty good trade, but at the same time, like, he's still the kind of player that you could see like 1 catch for 15 yards, and that's, you know, that's just what it is for him that week. And I mean, Keenan Allen's been unbelievable, but you know, like you don't feel quite as safe as you do if you have the running backs. And that being said, it was incredible to see my running backs come back this week and both have games like they were having earlier in the season, especially Kareem Hunt. Obviously, that's been a story all back half of the season here. But to see him, come in 100 yards, a touchdown, 19-point game, like just, you need to see that going into the playoffs, because now it's like I remember that I have these guys, and I remember that they're actually capable of scoring points.
Real people.
Right. But I kind of alluded to this earlier, but I really believe that the defense is going to be truly believe the defense is going to be an X factor in this game, and it's not really a bold prediction to say that, considering I'm scoring 10 points more per game on the defensive side of things this season.
I have watched 1 million hours of film, and that's why I truly believe that he's going to be the difference this week.
Just, dude, the defensive line struggles for Caleb, well documented. Yep. I got a couple of pretty elite ones.
Yeah, bringing in 2 fresh ones again.
Hey,
just a revolving door.
Check out Mario Addison. 3 straight weeks with a sack. Actually, 6 out of the last 7 weeks he has a sack. There's a 0% chance he gets one this week.
You just ruined his season.
Yeah, I don't know what to do, man. I don't know. Like I already know he's not gonna get one, but it's like it's like 6 out of 7 weeks. That's like you gotta.
I've gotten into a few of those stretches like a couple years ago and last year and whatever, and I kind of just gave up on that chasing sacks. I just roll with my guys and hope they turn it around, basically.
Yeah. I think I'm going to address it in the offseason. Maybe we'll make a move like, Parker did for Khalil Mack, I
mean, I got kind of a surplus over here.
Hey.
Yeah, I got a JJ Watt that I'm kind of getting sick of. So,
all right.
No, but yeah, Caleb, you managed to avoid that number 10 ranked defense by 0.1 points per game.
Oh yeah.
So nice job. I don't want to say it because I didn't look ahead of time, but I'm almost positive that Dave just had the worst defensive season ever. Not counting 2013. So yeah.
Like the fact that I did that with 3 top 10 linebackers is really impressive. That shows just how bad like the rest of my defense is. Like they had like a combined like 8 points last week, and not my linebackers. Like it's
Dave too. Remember at the beginning of the season when we were like, "Hey, Dave's got a decent defense. He's got some players again." Just follows it up. Just another bad defensive year.
Well, yeah, and I think. I think this is going to be the year that we see Dave putting some picks into that defense. He's got a couple of seconds. He'll get some skill guys early in the draft this year. He's got the 4th and 5th overall picks as well.
He's got a lot of late picks too, if I remember right.
He does not have a 3rd, but he does have a 4th.
He's got like 3 seconds, which might be too early.
Yeah. So, I mean, you never know. Maybe we'll. I don't know a lot about the draft yet, but yeah, I know that there's some guys that are looking like top 5 picks. So, yeah. So that's what we got. We got Mingo and Caleb and Brock and Dan. Very different from the outside looking in on these games, but it's playoffs, man. You never know. Judy beats Brock in 2014. That's impossible. It happened. You get Calvin beating Parker last year. That seemed impossible for him to do that twice. So yeah, it's the most exciting time of the season. Always these first round games, because you never know what's going to happen, and you got 2 teams that are going to be. Now we got the belt. Everything just means a little bit more now. You get that year with the belt. You get the bragging rights. This is big, and it all starts this week. So let's pick them.
I just was looking at your spreadsheet, and I looked at because I had forgotten Dan and me had played in the playoffs so much because I usually block those things out. And I see this game from 2015, and I see there's a 4-point spread that he beat me by, and I was like, wow, that's close. Why don't I remember that? And then just in my head just started going, listen. And I just remembered sitting in fucking Rockville living room just praying for Willie Snead points that never came.
Oh yeah, that was a year. All right, well, let's start with the 1 versus 4. Brock, you got all the power here.
Jesus, oh God.
Well, it's kind of wild. There's Saturday games this week. Like, what's up with that?
Oh yeah.
What?
It's gonna be interesting.
Yep, he's playing on Saturday. You've got Stafford, Hunt, Allen, Marvin Jones, like half your team.
Yeah, we got like 3 Saturday games because the college is done now.
Yeah, it's a big day for you, bud.
Oh my God.
I don't have anyone on. Oh, I have Hunter Henry.
Jesus.
Oh,
That's terrifying.
That is very.
All right, well, Saturday's the day, I guess.
so, yeah, apparently we're gonna know a lot come Sunday morning here. Oh man, this is tough. I feel like it's gonna. Because Caleb's offense is playing better, still pretty overmatched, I think. Not really, maybe not. That's closer. That part's closer than I think. You definitely are overmatched in the defense. That's gonna be like. If you can somehow like play him even on defense, if you can get some sacks, maybe. Your offense lately has shown that they can keep up with anyone. Funchess is playing really good. Funchess kind of carried you here in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
I need Funchess votes.
Yeah, 4 straight games with over 10 points.
Yep.
Got 20 in there. Like even Michael Thomas has been good. Of course, Jamal Williams. Yeah.
Jamal Williams is going to get lead back duties with Rodgers. I feel like that could end up being. Actually, he's been playing super good, so it'll probably be about the same ceiling.
Yeah.
But looking over at Corp's team, it's all going to depend on how his 2 rookie running back phenoms play with Kareem Hunt and Fournette. I think it's a big part. Keenan is going to need a lot out of Keenan. Going to need Keenan to be Keenan. Hopefully Marvin Jones doesn't dud. Corp's definitely got the edge, but Pack 5 rep. Give me the upset.
Let's go.
Give me the upset.
Pack 5.
I'm taking the upset. I love Cinderella stories. I'm done. Fuck Caleb ends right here on this podcast. We're done with it. I'm never saying it again.
I'm so happy now. Mingo doesn't have a great face on right now, but fine.
Whoo. So, Corp, who do you pick?
The reason that I hate that so much is because I know that you're right. I've been saying since week 3 that I was destined to lose in the first round this year. And now I get to play the worst playoff team ever in my best season ever.
Oh, God.
I'm going to lose.
It's working out perfectly.
I'm going to lose. I promise you I'm going to lose.
Oh, that's exactly what Tim said. That's exactly what I need.
That's
a low-key turning point in me and Tim's game was when Dave came in and said, I have faith that Timmy's going to come back. I'm like, I don't know. Dave doesn't really hold through on his promises, so I really need a big Dave rooting for Mingo this week, and I'll be riding high.
I hate you so much.
You're in a good spot.
So ready for this.
No pressure.
So ready for this game.
You either lose as the worst playoff team ever, or you make the biggest upset ever. It's not a bad spot to be in.
I know. Yeah, a lot more pressure on Mingo right now. You can see it in his face. I'm over here laughing. It's like, wow.
Yeah, how many years is this going to take off Mingo's life?
I'm so used to my playoff games in Webb are just like I'm playing Dan in 2013 and I'm playing Parker in 2016. or 2015. And like both times I am just heavily out favored and like I don't even expect anything. And I get destroyed.
Parker fucking right.
By Parker. And beats me by like 9 with Jamal Charles scoring 50.
Oh,
and like,
man, oh my God.
I've had a rough postseason history, and now I'm the 1 seed. I promise you I'm losing to Caleb.
Your web history just gets worse and worse the more I think of it, because not only are you having these heartbreaking losses, we've talked about those. We've talked about your horrible seasons that you always alternate with, but the horrible season always follows up the heartbreaking loss. It's like just a year and a half of misery.
I'm winning the fucking belt this year. Brock, I'm going to fucking rip that belt out of your grasp. I'm going to beat you in the title game. I'm going to rip it away from you. I'm come to your house. Not going to wait for the presentation ceremony. I'm going to come and get it.
He's just going to show up at your house. Just take it and leave. Kids be like, what the hell is that?
Can't even wait till New Year's. Oh, you're going to throw me in at my couch too?
I might. Make a pizza and see what happens.
Oh my God.
I love the playoffs, man. This is the best thing. It's the best time of year, man. I love this.
Oh, was that last year's web ceremony that you shoved Caleb into the couch? I think it was.
It was that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was a wild old night.
Oh man.
All right.
Ooh.
Rock and Dan.
Laughing.
Rock and Dan, 2 and 3 seeds.
Wait, who you got, Mingo? In our game.
What?
Who you taking?
I'm taking myself.
Oh, all right.
I'm gonna win I'm winning it all. I'm winning. It's belt or suicide. That's how I view this postseason.
That might change my game plan because I don't really want you to kill yourself, but
I used to just quit the league when this stuff happened. Now I'm just dying. I'm done.
Oh, I remember nooses and stuff in the past.
Yeah. There's a lot of noose talk and
my God.
Emotional posts to the page when I trade Jamal Charles. I don't know if I want to do it anymore, guys.
Oh, I always thought that was a joke, but I really don't think it was.
It wasn't. Oh my God, it was not. All right. Well, Brock, you get to sit this one out after what you just pulled. Caleb and I will handle this one.
All right, but just for the record, I always pick myself.
Right. Potentially, I'm just trying to think about this a little bit here. Is this the biggest playoff game, like the biggest first-round game ever?
It's got to be.
Like, I mean, we've had... like it's got to be a 2 and 3 seed game. You guys have had 2 of them already, and obviously you've had like great seasons in the past. Like, but 2015 he was kind of a heavy favorite points wise, and same story last year. This season you guys are neck and neck, and you're the defending champion. He's like hasn't had one since 2013. Had another great season. Yeah, I think this is the biggest playoff game ever that isn't a title game. And yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, Caleb.
No, man.
All right, I'll start. What I like about Brock's team, the explosive offense, obviously. We were talking about this team breaking scoring records before the season. Obviously, that didn't happen with the way the season played out, but very impressive offensive season. Almost won the scoring title. So this team's almost, it's essentially the best scoring team in the league. 0.2 points doesn't really mean a whole lot. Has shown a huge ceiling. Multiple 220-point games this season. Ooh, but Dan's team though, it's just sexy, He's got 5 RB1s. He's got Alvin Kamara, the rookie of the year, the phenom. He's got Aaron Rodgers coming back, the best quarterback in the NFL. And he's seeing production out of his receivers a little bit more in the last 4 weeks, behind 4 or 300+ point offensive performances. I'm gonna go Brock.
Yeah, I changed my vote to you.
Stop.
Fuck Caleb.
Stop.
I gotta roll with the defending champion. I think, Brock, you have had a great season. You've showed a lot of you've dealt with a lot of adversity, and this is just the latest test. It's the latest roadblock. And Rodgers coming back, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be real hard. But 25 points out of Julio this week.
Dude, I'm gonna try and do a Star Wars quote here, quick. Fantasy football twist on it. When the Rodgers thing was announced, I'm not currently at David Wilson Planet, but I can feel it in the Force, and it's as if a million voices cried out all at once and were suddenly silenced.
Wow!
Oh my god. That was
wow. That was intense.
Oh, that popped into my head today, and I could not share it, even though it's not good for my team.
Hey, Star Wars this week, guys. Got my tickets ordered. All right,
Caleb,
go ahead.
Yeah, it's tough to compare it's so close. We got the Vegas line on this one at 6.1 in favor of David Wilson Batman. Hard to bet against them.
I'll cover.
Yeah. All right. Ooh, words of confidence. Kai Forbath had a 9-point week last week.
That's true.
So I'm seeing some resurgence out of the kicking department. They're going up against the Bengals, who just got destroyed by the Bears, which I couldn't believe was real. Dan hasn't looked. I don't know. Without Shazier, that defense really got hurt there. Kamara, he's back. Rodgers back. It's so close. It's so hard to pick between the two. But one of these teams I picked to win the championship in the preseason, and I'm gonna stick with them. I think they're the best team right now, and that's it's Frazier. So we got a clean sweep out of the.
Oh, it's not a good sign.
Yeah, it's not what I'm kind of a curse. Yeah, I don't know.
See, Corf, I'm just trying to inadvertently help you. You can't clean sweep it.
Dude, this game, whoever comes out of this, Caleb and I are gonna have a hell of a time trying to get that out because it's gonna be incredible. But I don't know. This is a big one. This is the kind of game that it's I just don't know.
Yeah.
it's complete toss up. But my Julio Jones 25-point prediction, I felt a little bit better about it because they're playing Tampa this week. That could actually happen.
He's also not injured. That's a plus.
No Q next to his name. Yeah, the 32nd ranked defense. And the Patriots, the AB against the Patriots, they're the 29th pass defense. That's not good either.
That'd be a running backs versus wide receivers kind of a dynamic this week.
I'm gonna need the big one. I'm gonna need Gurley to really step up against the Seahawks.
True, yeah, they got a good. Well, what did he had his one dud against the Seahawks this season. He had a 3-point performance in Week 5. Obviously, that defense isn't the same now, but still, the D line is what it is.
Yeah,
gonna need at least 10 out of them.
Yeah,
I can't take a 3-point dud from Gurley. That's gonna kill me.
We had one sub 10-point game all season. That was that game. That's the odds it happens here, but same team.
Watch this game end up being a 2014 Dan and Parker game where both teams failed to score 140 points.
Oh my god! Don't let that happen. I need this to be a shootout. I really. such a matchup that
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be. But, all right. Well, we'll talk more next week about what actually happened, and we'll go into the championship game. It'll be a little championship week special. Really hit that game pretty in depth. Have a little fun with it. I'll maybe try to think of a little activity we can do. But it's web playoff time, baby. Let's fucking do it.
One of the podcast members is going to be heartbroken.
Yeah,
that's maybe two.
Maybe two.
Yeah,
maybe two.
So, but not three. Somebody here's playing for it.
Somebody here is going to have a big smile on their face next week. But all right. Well, that's all I got. I'm going to save most of my end of season wrap up information for the season in review, as I typically do. So yeah, we'll keep it at that for this week and move on into our playoff games. How do we feel about that? Good?
Yeah. Feel great about it. No, I don't.
All right. We got three playoff teams sitting here. We're all talking about it like, we got all these teams like, yeah, shut up, guys. Our season's already over.
Only 3 web games left.
Yeah. It's incredible. So, all right, guys. Well, on that note, let's have a hell of a round 1.